So after 3 years of doing these, I decided to pull the plug on architectural design. For the longest time, architecture was a path I thought I would commit to, but as time passed, I knew deep down that it didn't really align with my goals. And while there were thoughts of wanting to make a change in architectural school, I pressed on. And in my first year, I told myself I'm just getting started and that I should not be running away from it just because it is difficult or that it feels a little foreign to me. And in my second year, I found myself starting to get into the routine and tasks felt less foreign, and I was mostly doing it out of habit. Then in my third year, I gave myself an excuse that I was close to completion and that I should just stick with it till the end. And that's how I ended up sticking with it for 3 years, even though deep down I really wanted to leave. And there's this Chinese idiom, 半途而废, which means to start doing only to give up halfway. It literally means to walk half the road and give up. It's typically something parents would teach their children not to do when they set out to accomplish a goal. Hence, there was a lot of back and forth on my end to leave or not to leave. So it got me thinking, at what point do you say enough is enough and you make a change? The thing was, even though I wanted a way out, none of my plans materialized. I got busy trying to survive the next day, and it was like your next 5 moves were queued and planned for you. You can't help but move along. The entire experience felt like I was being tossed into the open sea and I had to tread water to keep myself afloat constantly. There may be a boat out there for me, but I could not bring myself to stop or swim in an opposite direction and venture into unknown waters for the risk of sinking and being lost. So why did I want to leave? As a former art student, my initial justification for selecting architecture was the balance between design and science. Then why did I want to leave? It was a combination of various factors. My goals shifted. I did not see myself doing architectural design in the long term, and I valued other skill sets more. And most importantly, I hated the person I became at the end of architectural school. And beyond the high workload, unnecessarily high I might add, a lot of the time I found myself being able to go from point A to point B, but due to the rigid frameworks, be it enforced by the school, or they were just the traditional way of doing things, I ended up needlessly going through a labyrinth just to get from A to B, and you better not be caught taking the direct path. And I gradually discovered I did not enjoy every minute spent doing the work. Just like you, I was seduced by the beautiful renders, and rightfully so, because they are meant to sell the design of the architectural piece. Even I am guilty of doing that with my renders. So why was it difficult to get out? Only towards the end, when I felt so much excitement for being able to stop being caught in this cycle, did I realize how much I wanted out. I didn't go through with any of my exit plans, partly because I wanted to prove to myself that I'm leaving not because I found it difficult, I suck at it, and therefore I'm exiting as a loser, but I'm leaving because I truly did not see myself enjoying it. I can do well in it as long as I put in the effort to do so. I wanted to prove to myself by working hard so much that it came at the cost of my personal health and well-being. I kept busy at every hour, locking myself in my room the entire day to draw those plans, 3D modeling on the train, running through building codes and regulations in the shower, and building models as I have my meetings. And that's if I remember to eat. And this only got worse. It kind of became a competition between peers of who slept the least, who sacrificed the most. And I pretty much postponed hangouts with friends for months or even a year. And any time not spent working was spent repaying the large amount of sleep that I accumulated. I even remember my longest record of working on one of my final year projects for 3 days without sleep. I don't know how I did it, but it's something I learned to never do again. I experienced visual hallucinations where wood grains and marbling on tiles started to swirl before my eyes. I was hypersensitive to light and I couldn't even walk straight. And while I do not regret having the final grades, I do regret the damage I did to myself. So please don't ever do this to yourself. The decision to pivot, because I did eventually do well, it complicated my decision and motivation to leave. I did successfully prove to myself I could do it if I wanted to, but seeing myself finally excel in it made it difficult to leave something I have grown to be comfortable with. Especially knowing that I could do well in it now, it made me think twice if opting for something brand new is the right choice. Making the decision to leave wasn't easy. I felt like I was abandoning years of effort, as though I was starting from scratch. Eventually, I came to terms with my initial plans and told myself, 1. Starting fresh does not waste the progress I've made as long as I kept my lessons. 2. There is no point sticking to doing something if I hated every second of it. By listening to that quiet voice inside myself, I knew I had to go. And so I did. The challenges of starting over. Leaving architecture for computing wasn't about giving up one dream for another. It was about evolving, finding the courage to realign and discovering that growth sometimes comes with letting go. And if you're on a journey like this, know that it's okay to start over. Sometimes starting over is the most important step that we take. And of course, starting over isn't glamorous. There were nights I doubted myself, days where I questioned if I could keep up with the people who have been coding for years. I learned to embrace failure and let go of the past successes achieved in a single try, which, come to think of it, it's a little too much to expect from yourself if you're doing something that is totally new, something that you have not done before. And with each bug I debugged and each line I struggled through, it felt like I was improving on a difficult skill or task. And have you ever had to learn something completely new? It's humbling, but also incredibly rewarding when you push past the initial frustration. So what has changed after leaving architecture? While I do push myself now, I am more mindful of the approach that I take and the past mistakes that I've made. In fact, adopting a balanced approach to being productive and caring for one's well-being is a concept that I'm now most intrigued by. I hope to help people complete the goals they set out to do and to not sacrifice themselves like the way I did. It is a way to redefine how we stay accountable, productive, and motivated. I wonder if you've ever had to pivot, if you found yourself at crossroads where the harder choice was also the one that your heart nudged you towards. What did you do? How did you know it was time? Let me know in the comments. And now I find myself much happier after leaving architecture. Do keep yourself happy because you'll work much better. If you are like my past self, please stop going overboard. Take a pause, sip some tea, and get some sleep. And perhaps also find something that could help take your mind off work. If this video resonated with you, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.